Alrighty. Let's wait for people to get in here. We'll get going. We'll get to your questions, and we'll get going. We'll get talking. So let me check something. Okay. We have some questions, and I will get you your questions and that. And let's just give a minute or two people to get in here, and we'll get going here. So we're talking about Scott Boras and why Scott Boras is screwing over all of these guys he's representing at this point, and why I'm baffled they haven't fired him and taken things into their own hands. I have Twitter up just in case anything pops out. I'm not expecting anything really right now, but you never know. Let's see. All right, we'll go for about somewhere in a half hour to hour range. It'll be somewhere in there. Start with what Hayden Blair said. Is Snell close to signing? I believe he is. My personal belief, based off all the information I've seen, all the reports we have out, and the fact Heyman will not let up. He keeps putting out the Yankees are talking to Snell, and they're the only team he can't connect to Snell. He has said this repeatedly. Okay? This is Boris' stooge. This is not the part of the offseason, going to what Joe Cisco said. This is not the part of the offseason in which an agent's going to start using teams to beef up offers. This is a time when the agent's starting to panic and just get any offer he can get. And we know from earlier this week, from 4 different insiders, Ken Rosenthal, one of those, there's an offer on the table from the Yankees to Snell still. He's got an offer in hand from the Yankees still. We do not know the numbers. Even Cashman confirmed, yes, there's an offer out. Earlier this week, it was Monday. Yes, there's an offer out to Snell, but he would not confirm the numbers. He said it might not be what anybody's reported. I don't know what to make of that. So we know about that one. So no, I do not buy for second Boras is using anyone to beef up offers, or we would be hearing all kinds of Matt Chapman connected to the Yankees, all kinds of Jordan Montgomery connected to the Yankees, all kinds of Cody Bellinger connected to the Yankees. We're not seeing it. So Blake Snell connected to the Yankees is because that's where Snell wants to go. He wants to be a Yankee, which furthers my being baffled. He's not taking things into his own hands. He's not firing Boras and going to the Yankees, getting a deal done himself like A-Rod did. Okay? And I was getting information today. Yes, Boras is the whole issue here. Boras has offers on all of these guys, all 5 of the Boras 5, including JD Martinez. And Boras is the one stopping them from signing. Okay? And Joan just made a good point. We'll get to that in a second here. Tyler said Boras killing market. Yes, completely. And then Joan goes, I would tell Boras then you have 24 hours to take it or leave it. Yeah, that's a great point if you're the player, not the team. If you're the Yankees, you're going to want to keep waiting this down into March, knowing every day the price tag goes down. And the Cubs, the same thing with Cody Bellinger. You're going to want to wait this out because every day the player panics more. You know that price is going down. And at some point, these players are going to have to say, hey, Boras, you didn't do it. You're gone. I'm going to do it myself. And they call up the Yankees and get it done themselves. And when Aaron Judge is still pushing all out to get Snell and the Yankees, and then Hal yesterday says everything's on the table, so you know Hal wants Snell. And watch Hal's face when he was asked by Snell and said everything's on the table. Sly grin, as if he knows something. He was having a hard time holding something back. As if he knows it's a matter of time until Snell does this. You have to wonder why these guys haven't done it yet. Okay? You have to wonder. Where do I expect them to end up? I firmly believe Snell to the Yankees, Bellinger to the Cubs. With Matt Chapman, we don't know. We have no information on him. No team has talked to him in over a month. Since December, actually. So, and I was about to get to the point Joan just made. So, you gotta think players are starting to get upset at this point at Boras. Because now it's threatening their spring training and if they could even be ready for the season. Now, at this point, yes, Snell could be ready for the season, but you're only talking about 3 innings at first start of the season. That's the issue at this point. Yeah. And as Jared said, all of this, in my opinion, is public negotiation. That happens. That happens. By the way, Manfred's talking about banning public negotiations. I wonder how many of you heard that. But yes, this is public negotiations. That's a straight up fact. Now, what we have to do is try to sift through all this information from Heyman, Passan, Rosenthal, and all the others and say what is real, what is not. What I think with these Bob Klapisch reports, they're straight up BS fed by Randy Levine to force Boras to bring it down maybe the next 5 to 10 million, and then you can say, okay, deal done. That's what I think this Klapisch crap is. And yes, it is crap. Klapisch has not had a good connection with the Yankees in years for some reason. We don't know why, but he hasn't. It's been a terrible, terrible report of the last years on Yankee stuff. Hi, Kyle. So, yeah, again, I'm going to ask, at what point do the Boras Five, and they are Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, Jordan Montgomery, J.D. Martinez, at what point do these five guys say, you know what, Boras, I'm done. You're screwing me over. You're fired. I'm going to go handle it myself. At what point do they do this? And yes, at this point, as Jones said, quote, my only concern with the pitcher is if they don't have enough full spring training, there's a susceptible injury. I.e. Carlos Rodon last year in 2023. That's happened with Carlos Rodon. Exactly. With Blake Snell, there's still time. If he gets on a team and gets in right now, he could build up to where he could probably give you 4 innings, maybe 5 if he keeps the pitch count down for first start in April. But he has to get signed this weekend. If it leaks into next week, then you're talking 3 innings in that first start in April. And then if it gets past next week, that first start's gone. That first start is gone. Again, for those that didn't see my tweets, I got information this morning from my contact at Boras Corp that Scott Boras is the only reason. And I should say I got somebody else and bounced it off my contact at Boras Corp and they confirmed it. That Scott Boras is the only reason the Boras Five have not signed a deal. He is holding out because of his own ego, because he does not want to take an L. I got news for you, Scott. You've already taken an L. You're not getting the money you would have got. Matt Chapman probably won't even get to $80 million now. And I'm wondering if Cody Bellinger can even demand $100 million at this point. I think he'll still get it, but still. But yeah. With Blake Snell, Kyle Evans asked when I think Blake Snell will sign with the team. With Blake Snell, and Jordan Montgomery, they both have to be panicking. There's a reason Hyun-Jin Ryu went back to Korea. Freaking 8-year, $80-something million offer. I'm not sure I wouldn't take that at 37 years old. But it's because he actually got to get the kick. Sorry, brain cramp. That's concussion symptom. It's because he actually got to get on a team and get going. Okay? So, and Hayden said, if I was Snell, I'd do it now. I 100% agree. If I was Blake Snell, I probably would have done it last Monday. I would have been on the phone with him and said, you know what, Scott, get me on a team. So, yeah. If I'm a pitcher right now, especially a starter, a reliever, they don't really have to worry about anything till halfway through spring training, like halfway through March. But if I'm a starting pitcher right now, I'm going to my agent and I'm saying, you've got to get me on a team this weekend. You have got to get me on a team this weekend. I can't do this anymore. Because they know they're not going to get to spring training or to their first start at this point. Through spring training to their first start. Okay? They know it. They know it. Most spring training games start tomorrow, so already started. But most starting tomorrow, by the way, yeah, Jared's got a great point there. Spring training's already going. For those who haven't figured that out, spring training is already active. There were games yesterday, there's games today. Every team will have played a game by Sunday. Every team, all 30. These guys have got to be panic mode. They haven't even had their week to warm up to get going for their first spring training start. How pissed is Snell at Scott Boras? Lots of yelling between the two. You would have to believe that at this point. You'd have to believe Snell is sending Boras texts by the hour saying, what are you doing? Why not on the Yankees yet? And I know for a fact Snell wants to be on the Yankees. It's the only team he wants to play for. There's a reason no other team has talked to him. He put out he wants to play for the Yankees. He's going to play for the Yankees. And I think that is what that Barstool Sports guy caught on to, is he found that information out. And so he knows he's going to the Yankees. And I don't think Hal cares about this 110% tax for 1 year because he knows it's about $130 million is falling off the books next offseason. You hear that? $130 million is falling off the books? So payroll would fall to, right now, to be about $205 million. You add in arbitration, it's going to be so much lower next year. It's not even funny. It might not even be $20 million. You re-sign Soto, you're sitting at $250 million. Do you think Hal cares about the luxury tax one season to sign Snell? I don't. I don't. And that's a great point. Hayden made and then deleted it. Snell has been going around all these Yankee videos about him joining the Yankees and liking him. Now, I put one up on Instagram as a test. And mine's a short vid. Let me check, see if anything on that right now. And Instagram is acting a little bit weird here. There we go. So let me go to my profile and see the analytics on it. And he has not seen mine yet or liked mine. And I tagged him in it. That's everybody else did. He's been liking a lot of them. If you could go back and listen to the Steinbrenner interview, listen closely, you will find some clues. Yes, Jared is right. Hal Steinbrenner had a weird tone to his voice when we don't normally hear. And he flat out refused to talk about Blake Snell, save to say everything's on the table. And he said that. Watch his face and his tone of voice. He knows something. Hal is hiding something. He knows they're getting Snell, but they're just waiting the price tag down. And Snell liked a ton of comments by Yankee fans about him. On Instagram, he liked some videos. He liked a Yankees video. He liked something Judge posted. Snell is putting the evidence out there that we have seen before with players trying to talk their way on the Yankees. Hal knows this and knows Snell's the player he wants and he wants to get him, but he's going to weight it down a little bit. And I think that's the right play, but at this point, Hal's got to know Snell's in trouble. He's not going to make that first start of the season if he doesn't get on a team this weekend and really start ramping up. Man, I have never seen an agent botch anything as near as bad as Scott Boras has this offseason. And some of you know, Boras represented me back when I was 18 trying for a baseball career before I had to give it up due to back injuries from a car wreck when I was 10 and a second car wreck when I was 16. So, man, I'm going to ask it again. At what point do the Boras 5 fire Boras, or not even fire him, just go to the teams they want to get on themselves and work the deals out? I know for a fact Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger at least are thinking about it, if not talking to the teams themselves. Because a couple days ago, Jed Hoyer, the Cubs GM, was asked about Cody Bellinger. He said, I talked to him myself. He didn't say Boras. He said him, meaning Bellinger. And he said there are talks there. Meaning these guys are probably starting to get antsy and starting to want to get on teams. The Yankees should not worry about the tax. Excuse me. They have to pretend like Soto is a one-year rental and go all in to win the World Series. Remember, 3 of their top relievers will also be free agents. That's a great point. The Yankees have a lot of free agents next year, and the Donaldson money comes off next year. Okay? And if they turn down the Hicks option, that money falls off. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Because it's mutual, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. But a lot of money's coming off, so the Yankees should go after him. So, and yes, Steinbrenner flat out denied or declined to talk about Scott Boras. He was asked if he had talks with 2 agents. He refused. That's not what he normally does. I've never seen Hal refuse to talk about Scott Boras. The Yankees have signed more Scott Boras clients than any other team, and it's over 5-1. There's so many the Yankees have signed with A-Rod, Sabathia, Beltran, Brian McCann. Aaron Judge was not one, I don't think, but they did sign one last year. I can't remember who it was. The Yankees have signed so many of them, more than any other team. So Hal acted very weird in that interview. For Hal to say everything on the table himself is very interesting. So I do think Snell becomes a Yankee, but I think it's at the point when Snell finally gets fed up and says, you know what, Boras, get me on the Yankees. Take whatever deal they have. Kyle says, Hal Steinbrenner might have to step in and get the Snell deal done like he did with Judge. Cashman can be more at times. Yeah. Boras is known to go to owners over GMs. And George Steinbrenner signed 23 Boras clients himself over the years. A lot of them. A lot were re-signings as well. And by the way, on Juan Soto, 3 Boras clients have signed long-term extensions in the last week and a half. We're starting to see a trend. Boras is trying to get all these extensions done. He might be retiring soon. Keep an eye on that. Hayden mentions Rodon. Yeah, Carlos Rodon actually went to Boras last year around Christmas, said, get me on the Yankees. Within 24 hours, it was done. So, when does Blake Snell do this? When? Okay. I think it's only a matter of time. And it's pretty soon. And Jonah's right. Hal's final say no matter what. I think Hal wants Snell. Hal's always been a fan of Snell. And Hal was the leader when the Yankees tried to trade for Blake Snell and Juan Soto at this past trade deadline. Hal was the leader pushing for them. Another thing to keep in mind, Hal's sisters, who are owners with him, they own just as much as Hal does, are very pissed right now. They're the ones driving this offseason. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Let's do a quick Twitter check, or X check. I still call it Twitter. I don't think anybody will ever call it X. Just seeing if anything's coming up. By the way, the NFL salary cap shot up $30 million this offseason, officially. So, that'll help a lot of teams. It will be at $255.4 million per club. So, with an additional $74 million per club payment for player benefits. So, that is going to take every team above the or below the salary cap for the NFL. So, yeah, Spencer Jones is a gigantic human. He is huge. He makes every other outfield just look tiny out there. It's pretty funny. Spencer Jones, big 6'7" guy. We haven't seen him by Judge yet. We're going to see that. We haven't seen it yet. By the way, the Reds have just signed Tony Kemp. So that was all BS about his connection to the Yankees. That's when the Yankees were being used. Back when they were trying to connect him. So, and by the way, Juan Soto was 3 opposite field home runs in Steinbrenner Field, and that is the same dimensions as Yankee Stadium. Keep that in mind. So, any word on Trevor Bauer will land? Maybe Mets now that Cody Bellinger is injured. I think he goes back to Japan. I really think he goes back to Japan with Trevor Bauer, but the Mets might be desperate enough to take that vet minimum thing. The Mets are not going into the top of the market. Tell you that right now, guys. The Mets are not going to the top of the free agent market. They're not going to talk to Bellinger or Snell, but they could go after a cheap one like Bauer. That's a good point there. So, see here, just logged on. What's the real scoop on Snell? The latest I have on Snell, Danny. I believe he's going to the Yankees. I believe it is quite close, but Boras is the whole holdup. Boras is not letting his guys sign and is screwing everything up. So at what point do the Boras 5, includes JD Martinez, all these guys, say, you know what, Boras have taken my hands. Go call the team's got a team. Yeah. And this is playing out like Carlos did last year. Yeah. Blake Snell's free agency's been identical to Carlos Rodon. No team wanted Rodon but the Yankees. And once the Yankees made their initial offer, every team backed out. And it was just down to when it would close with the Yankees. I think the same thing's happening right now with Blake Snell. So, Danny, all of these are just rumors. Everything is just rumors. I don't believe Bob Klapisch. I don't buy Andy Martino. I do not for a second buy Brian Hoke. When was the last time Brian Hoke broke anything? 7 years ago. And that was a minor signing. Brian Hoke has not been all that accurate. Go check his history. All of these guys are the Boras shills putting out information to try to help Scott Boras. So, yeah, Mariners got Brian Anderson and another player. So, a lot of infielders trying to fly off the boards. Tim Anderson to the Marlins. So, the market's moving faster than it has all offseason. But Boras keeps holding it up for these guys. They've got to be pissed. I know if I was one of them, I'd be furious, and I would just pull up my phone and start texting with the team I want to get on myself. So, and by the way, Jung-Hoo Lee is already injured. I don't know why you wanted him. He's already injured. Jung-Hoo Lee is not going to be a good major leaguer. I'm telling you. He is not built for it. Everything. There's a reason the Yankees didn't go after him. They went out and got Tony Grisham, or whatever his name is, Trent Grisham, there it is, and Alex Verdugo instead. So, yeah. Let's go back in here. Never trust Andy Martino. He reported years ago the Yankees were trading Gary Sanchez to the Mets. He did, and he said it was done. Andy Martino has lost his sources with the Yankees. He has lost his sources with the Yankees, and I believe Bob Klapisch and Brian Hoke have as well. Because all three of these guys went from very good, very accurate to all of a sudden, what are they talking about overnight at different times? With Bob Klapisch, it was right about 3 to 4 years ago. With him. Brian Hoke is about 6 years ago. Andy Martino just a few months ago with the Juan Soto trade talks. All three of these guys lost all trust, all credibility. Do not believe these guys. And I would throw even Brandon Cootie in on it because he's thrown some stuff out that has been contradicted by Passan. of all people. So, and Jack Curry. So, who's guy in your Twitter video that was on a parent phone call talking to someone about the Snell deal? Is this guy a legit guy? That is the, and Danny is talking about the Barstool guy who put out that tweet. What's his name? Mash. Can't remember his name. That's who he's talking about, okay? He is emphatic that the Yankees are signing Blake Snell. And I heard early on that Snell wanted to follow Soto to the Yankees once that trade was done. And he wanted to be Yankees anyway because he's good friends with a certain 6'8" outfielder. Best friends with him. And Garrett Cole. He loves Garrett Cole. Great friends there. Yeah, Marty Mush. This guy works for Barstool. He's one of their top reporters. I went back and checked. Of the 12 times he tried to break a move, he's been right 11 times. And I'm not... This would be the 13th he's tried, by the way. The one he wasn't, everybody and their mother was wrong, is Manny Machado. Even Jeff Passan said he thought Machado was going to the Yankees several times. So he's got a pretty good track record, but this one could hurt him bad. So why do people believe the wrong stuff? Do they not get public negotiation? That's a great point. Remember, a lot of stuff are going to pop out like public negotiations. Remember, the morning of the day Juan Soto was traded to the Yankees, the morning, Bob Claiborne put an article saying, Soto talks are dead, it's not happening. Yankees have moved to Alex Verdugo. Then 8 hours later, all of a sudden, the first tweet popped out from John Morosi, saying it was done. And then that night, it was Joel Sherman finishing it. Joel Sherman's really good. Joel Sherman did talk about these guys. He said, yes, he believes Cody Bellinger will go to the Cubs and Blake Snell to the Yankees. And Joel Sherman's a pretty accurate one. He has not missed on anything this offseason. So he's another good one. Yeah, I do not believe any short-term conversation right now. Even Ken Rothwell, Jeff Passan said Blake Snell will be long-term. Cody Bellinger will get at least 5 years, which is considered long-term. 5+ years is long-term. And such. And by the way, there are no opt-outs in negotiations between Snell and the Yankees. There will not be opt-outs. If you hear opt-outs, think something is off. I've been told that one. Passan, Curry, Rosenthal are the top tier of the trust. They're your top tier. These second tiers where you can find your Joel Sherman, your John Heyman for Boras clients only. John Heyman is only perfectly accurate with the Boras clients. If it's a Boras client, listen to John Heyman. And then Bob Nightingale as well, but he has been about 85% accurate this offseason, better than he's ever been. So Bob Nightingale, a little bit that second tier. But remember, the first tier is where you really want to listen. And I'd almost put Joel Sherman top tier, but not quite up there. So, yeah. He went to a local radio station yesterday and doubled down. Yeah, that was WFAN. And I retweeted that. It's on my At the King source. He called it a WFAN, and he was telling them emphatically, you don't do that unless you know for sure. Because if Snell's going to the Yankees now, Matty Mush's career is done. He will be a clown forever. Keep that in mind. I don't think he would have done that if he wasn't confident. It would be a very bad look for him. Oh, it would make him look like a clown. He'd be the biggest clown in New York. Would not be able to walk around New York if Snell was going to the Yankees now. Another thing is, Wade Cashman and Hal have been talking. They almost have no choice. They back themselves into a corner. Or if they do not sign Snell, the backlash should be even worse than last year after we're not done yet. We still have moves to make thing. Or we're still going to make another move thing. So, yeah. Whatever happens with Snell, he needs to get going. Example, Yankees first game tomorrow. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Look at Carlos Rodon last year. Carlos Rodon did not have spring training, and it was just a flop of a year. Carlos Rodon's like a great spring training this year, and I think he'll be an ace this year. You add Snell, you can have 4 aces with Marcus Stroman, because Marcus Stroman's a lifetime Yankees fan. He's going to give his all. Trust me. Haven't heard that much about it from Curry. Wonder when a hot stove is. There are no more Yankees hot stoves this offseason. They're done. They're done. So, Curry was asked about it on a radio bit on the Michael K show, and he said, I can't rule anything out, and he left it at that. So Curry is not even willing to rule it out. Then the next day, Hal himself says it. Yeah. When Hal himself's going out, flat out saying everything on the table, when he was straight up asked about Snell, yeah, Joey Rodriguez to the Red Sox. It's the second time they've had him, by the way. Yankees traded him to the Red Sox. You remember that. I'm confident in Carlos Rodon, 95% confident. I think he bounces back. I'm expecting like a 2.80 ERA, 15-plus wins, at least 180 innings, maybe 200. Rodona's done that not 9 times. 9 times he's got 150 innings. At least 6 times he's got 150 plus. At least 5 of those 180 plus. He's gone over 200 innings 3 times. So Carlos Rodon's done pretty good. I think he's somewhere in the 180 to 200 innings pitching over 200 Ks. So, do you think Giancarlo Stanton will pay off? I do, but it's not going to be a big 50 homer season. I expect somewhere around 30 to 35 homers, 100 plus RBIs, and about a 250 to 270 batting average, which is just perfect for Stanton. He does that, we're happy. We're fine with him. Yeah, Mike Ford to the Reds. That's true. Did you see the excerpts from the article from Claybish this morning from Bobby? Yeah, but remember, Bob Claybish is a clown. He has not had as good connections with the Yankees in years. He's not been accurate in years. Again, the morning of the day Juan Soto was traded to the Yankees, the morning, about 12 hours before it happened, he put out an article saying it's done. The Yankees have moved on with with Verdugo. Then the trade happens 12 hours later. I do not trust anything from Claybish anymore. I haven't in about 4 years. Because he is just going weird. He also said the Yankees were not in talks with Stroman the morning it happened. So this minor league deal on Mike Ford, $1.3 million salary if he gets to the majors, with $125,000 in incentives. So that is true. Former Yankee first baseman leaves the Mariners for the Reds. I'm actually surprised the Mets didn't sign him. See if any of you get that. And Luke Voigt, by the way, is insurance for Pete Alonso if they don't get a deal done there. We just dropped that. And by the way, another one's talking about Blake Snell to the Yankees, and Cody Bellinger to the Cubs is talking Jake. Okay, Jake has been spot on. He is 9 of 10 on breaking things. Another one that's very accurate. And the one he missed, again, was Manny Machado. So, Manny Machado screwed a lot of people over. I'm just going to say that. And I'm also very relieved Carlos Mendoza's gone for the Yankees. Watch the Yankees take a leap without Carlos Mendoza, the Yankees bench coach. Brad Ausmus will be amazing there. He will be. So, that's a good pickup for the Reds. Yeah, pretty good one. Pretty good one for the Reds. If they get him to the majors, he could probably give him a 300 a year. He'll probably bat 240, but he could probably give him a 300 a year. Where's Mike Clevenger, Michael Lorenzen, and Noah Syndergaard going? Those three, along with some others, are going to be your mid-spring training additions when you have an injury. Those three, keep an eye out for the Mets. They're the type, and even the Orioles could grab one of those on the cheap. They're the type where you have to grab somebody to fill in a mid-spring training injury. Okay? And keep in mind, the Rays do not have McClanahan or their other lefty ace. So they call them aces, they're not aces. I'm going to go get his name here. What is his name? I want to say Zimmerman, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Not Garrett Clevenger. They're not even showing on the Rays roster on ESPN. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. I have to pull up MLB.com. You just go to teams, and yeah, it's over on the right side. And you just click on the team, and you click on the roster. It takes you to the team site, which is through MLB.com, by the way. So roster, they're both on the 60-day AL, by the way. Okay, what? They're not showing MLB.com either. Wow. The Rays pitching staff is going to take a step back, I'm telling you. They'll have Pete Fairbanks and Zach Eflin, but not much other than that in their rotation. They'll have Colin Poche as well. Jeffrey Springs if they move into the rotation. But where are those two on the 60-man? Drew Rasmussen is the other one. Drew Rasmussen, yeah, he's on the 60 AL. Recovered from Tommy John. Shane McClanahan is another one. So yeah, those are the guys there. So yeah, but those guys, expect them to be that mid-spring training replacement for a player that goes down with injury. So I don't think it's going to get done probably next 2 to 3 days if I had to guess. He's talking about Snell to the Yankees. I kind of agree. We're seeing so much noise this week on Snell to the Yankees, it doesn't make too much sense unless it's going down, just like we saw that last week for Christmas before Rodon signed on Christmas Eve. So yes, it does feel like that one. Jake Odorizzi as well is another one. These are your veteran guys that are going to be brought in to fill the spot for an injury. I can even see the Dodgers taking flyer when they got Kershaw back. Padres maybe, but kind of keep an eye on these guys. The Rays are likely to go grab it on the cheap, and Odorizzi makes sense. He was a Ray. Adam, will Snell possibly sign the Yankees because it's BS what Boras is doing? I hope Howe will step in and hope Snell will agree and sign Boras. Is an idiot. Yeah, Boras is an idiot. I think everybody in the baseball world agrees. Boras botched this offseason worse than any agent ever, and Boras is just an idiot. And this might make Juan Soto say, you know what, give me an extension with the Yankees. Because I don't think he wants to deal with this either. And he said in spring training a couple days ago, I don't like it. But what we're seeing with Boras 5. So, yeah, Jeffrey Springs is one of them, yeah. Just makes no sense why he's taking so long. If Snell has one offer and it's the Yanks, then why are we thinking about it? It makes no sense. Boras does not want to lose money, as I mentioned in the tweet earlier. He makes $50,000 for every $1 million a contract signed. That's why he wanted $270 million. Okay? Let's do some math. $270 million is 50,000 times 270. So, he wanted to get $13.5 million out of Snell. Okay? If this drops down to $150 million, he's going to lose a lot of money. We're talking $6-7 million he loses. Okay? Because he'd only bring in $7.5 million. So we are talking millions out of Scott Boras' pocket here. That's why he's being a prick and holding this up. Okay? That's why. No, and he will not do short-term deal. Roland Lapasson said it will not be a short-term deal with the Yankees. It'll be long-term deal with the AAV, just like they did with DJ LeMahieu. Yeah, there's a lot of starting pitchers out there, but they're going to be your kind of fill-in guys. And Jones, right? Scott Boras is a greedy prick. The problem is completely Scott Boras. It's completely Scott Boras. And you think about Cody Bellinger for $300 million, he would be getting $15 million for that. And if he has to settle for a 3-year, $110 million deal, oof, that's $8 million out down the tubes. Yikes. Yeah, Scott Boras is worth $3 billion. He does not need the money. He's just being a prick. Because he knows this is his last big offseason. He'll have 3 big players next offseason. Shane Bieber, Corbin Burns, and that Yankee left fielder, Juan Soto. Those are his 3 big next offseason. And I think that's his last offseason. So Boras knows it's a swan song. That's why he's being a prick. And again, I'm going to say it's only a matter of time, and it might have already happened, till Snell, Bellinger, Montgomery, Chapman, and J.D. Martinez take it in their own hands to go get a deal done. It's only a matter of time. Boras does need to retire, turn it over to other people. I'm not sure they'll completely fire him as much as take it into their own hands, but we've got to be like on that. If it's a 100-yard dash, within the last 5 yards at this point. They've got to be right at that precipice of going, screw it, I'm done, I'm doing it myself. They have got to be at that precipice. I'm serious. Let's just check here, see if anything else popped out on the baseball world. Remember, Scott Boras gets 5% of every contract signed. That's a lot of money when you think about it. So, another thing to keep in mind, Eric Kratz caught Blake Snell in 2019. He was a Rays catcher. He caught every Blake Snell start that year. Okay? He knows him personally, and he thinks he will go to the Yankees himself. And he said he texted him, and he is the one that said he wants to be Yankee, he wants to join Judge. That's why I believe it, because we're talking about a guy who knows him personally. And they said that during his Foul Territory podcast. So, and by the way, Oswald Cabrera will be on the Yankees bench. Aaron Boone said so long as he looks good in spring training, he'll be on the Yankees bench. So we know 3 members of the Yankees bench will be Trevino, Grisham, and Cabrera. That 4th one remains up in the air depending on probably Oswald Peraza. So, and with the Cubs, it's just not fair to them. They need both Chapman and Bellinger to beef up their lineup. Because they'll have a top lineup to do that. And it's just not fair the games Boras is playing. And the Cubs, by the way, have signed the 2nd most boring clients of every team. Dodgers are 3rd. If that tells you anything. And I'm just not saying anything new, really. By the way, they released the top 10 players In baseball, I think they botched it. Judge is number 1. Cole should be number 2. He's best pitcher in the game, so they botched it a little bit. So I at least would hope Snell is doing workouts to keep up with the flow. That is believed. It is believed he is, and the same with Jordan Montgomery. That is a belief that is out there, yes. And why, just think about it, why is 3 of his clients signing extensions when he normally doesn't sign an extension? I think it's going to retire. Yes, I do too. I think that's the sign. 3 already, and we know of at least 4 more talking about extensions. Okay? Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Shane Bieber. That's a Boras client talked about extension. And I forgot the 4th. He's an outfielder. I'm going to give you a note. It's a catcher, Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman. So, Yorbert Vivas as well, fighting for that last bench spot. Yorbert Vivas from the Dodgers, top Dodgers prospect. Get this. This is why I do not like the top 100 prospect ratings. They drive me berserk. Yorbert Vivas was the number 18 prospect in baseball last year. Gets traded to the Dodgers, or from the Dodgers to Yankees, just because he goes to the Yankees. Poof, out of the top 100 prospects. That's why I hate the top 100 prospects. Your top 100 prospect rating cannot change just because of the team you're playing for. Just because you get traded. So, another one is Oscar Martinez. Yeah, he's still AAA with the Yankees. The Yankees still have him. So there's another one. Another one is Jeter Downs. Yeah, he's still with the Yankees. He's at Grant Wilkes-Barre. So they have a lot fighting for that last spot. But they'd have to play out of their minds to get it. So just literally makes no sense that the reigning NL Cy Young has no home currently. That a World Series champion has got no home. He's talking about Cody Bellinger. He got a ring with the Dodgers. He's right. And Blake Snell, yeah. It's Scott Boras screwing everything up. So, yeah, Oscar Gonzalez, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. So the Yankees going to have about 6, 7 guys fighting for the last bench spot. And I think about 10 guys fighting for 2 bullpen spots. Because Scott Efros is back on the 60 IL, so his spot's up for grabs. And the Cubs have about 8 of those too. They got about 8, 9 guys fighting for 2 or 3 bullpen spots. It won't be about the last week of the season when you see where these guys are going. By the way, another reason these guys are getting antsy, the Boras 5 and other free agents, the first cut is that first Saturday in March. It might be moved back to the Monday because that first Saturday comes quick. So we're already nearing the first cut. We're like 2 weeks away from it. So that's why these guys are getting antsy. They don't want to be a free agent when the first cut happens. And as Jared says, Boras never talked extensions at 3 already, and he's talking about 7 other of his guys, including Juan Soto. And if you paid attention to Hal Steinbrenner's comments on Juan Soto yesterday, they're already talking extension. He said, quote, "Yes, I have talked to him. We're going to be communicating all year." They're already talking extension. I would not be surprised when Juan Soto long-term extension pops out at any time, because Soto does not want to deal with this clown show again. And I would be surprised if we see, as much as I don't want to say it, Corbin Burns and Shane Bieber extensions, where Boras gets all of his guys done this year, and then he can just call it a career and retire and then turn his agency over to other guys he trusts. So keep that one in mind. And as Keith Rock says, he just messaged me on Facebook, I hope they fire Boras soon rather than later. I think we all do. I think that could be a consensus for all of us. Yeah, Daniel Peterson on Facebook. The worst part about this, Adam, is that it's crystal clear Blake Snell wants to be Yankee. It is. It's clear as day he wants to be Yankee when he's entertaining anybody else right now. So, yeah. Ken Rotho just dropped something that is just Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be a leader with the Diamondbacks. What do you expect? We hear those stories every year. I pay no attention to them. This Valorio IFA Yankee sign this year is supposedly so legit he could be ready in 2 years. He's 17. MLB rules do not allow players to play in the bigs until they're 18, so he will not be here this year. It'll be next year earliest. But yes, he is a legit prospect. Give him a couple years. I will agree on that one. I don't see Burns extending with the Orioles. I think that's the one thing that will stop him is he doesn't want to be an Oriole. If you watch all the interviews with the Orioles, he acts happy, but you can just see there's something in his body language. He doesn't want to be there. That could be the one thing that stops him. And I would not be surprised if Burns is traded at the trade deadline if the Orioles have a bad season. And I think the Orioles take a major step back from last year, like a sophomore slump type thing. Yeah, they had a great year, but I think they take a big step back. So why is it that he's holding up so bad? Maybe teams get desperate enough to the players get cut. teams are not getting desperate. Most of the teams are set. I've heard the Mariners, Giants, Angels, Mets, and many others say they were set now with the Mets before Senga went down. But every Mets insider, every single one in Passant said they're not going to the top of the free agent market. That's just not happening. They'll sign a cheap guy. So I think I'll go for another 20 minutes. Make this one an hour. But yeah, I don't think the players themselves are rolling out here. I think it's Boras screwing the players over. At this point, it's Boras. It's not the players' fault here. Okay? And as I tweeted out, I'm going to read you the tweet here. Sources, Boras himself is the only reason the Boras 5 aren't signed. And again, the Boras 5, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, and J.D. Martinez. Boras himself is refusing to allow them to sign deals as he refuses to take losses. How long till at least Snell and Bellinger fire him and take things into their own hands, a la A-Rod? You have to wonder. These guys have got to be furious at him. They have got to be at the point where they're done and they want to get onto a team. It's got to be getting there. Okay? And again, my Boras contacts back when I was represented by him and I tried for a career have been telling me the Boras 5 are furious at Boras right now. They want to be on teams. They are done with free agency. That's why he's holding out so bad. But the teams aren't going to cut players to sign him at this point. No. The teams are set. You're not going to cough up a $100 million deal this year for that. So, yeah. He wants to get as much money as he can before he retires. It's straight up the facts with Scott Boras. That's straight up what's happening. Boras is a prick, and he's screwing everybody over. Any trades on the rise of the Yankees camp, in your opinion, to help financially if Snell signs with the Yankees? And then Joe Swisco says, sounds like malpractice. It is. To me, this is a breach of contract by Boras. Because you might not know this. When a player hires an agent, they sign a contract between the player and the agent. So there are multiple contracts in play here. To me, this is breach of that contract. It is. Now, any trades? The trade market is pretty silent. Pretty silent. Notice it's gone dead silent on Dylan Cease and Shane Bieber. I think we're done with the offseason trades at this point, unless we see something minor. But yeah, I think it's dead there. I think Blake Snell's the Yankees' final move. Once Boras finally gets his head on straight and gets it done. Sheesh. I'm as furious at Boras as anybody. I'm telling you. Yu Darvish threw 32 pitches a day in another round of live batting practice. He said he expects his next outing to come in a game. And that goal is to be ready for the season opening series in Korea. So Yu Darvish appears healthy. That's good news. Fit for the first game day is the Cubs video, and they got every player in there but Cody Bellinger. It feels like they're missing something. Checking messages, checking see if anything new is popping out. They're predicting, by the way, I don't know how many heard this, they're predicting Greg Popovich will retire and that Tim Duncan will be hired to replace him. That's a prediction going around right now. We'll see. Little NBA nugget. Let's see. So this just popped out. Hyun-Jin Ryu left for Okinawa, Japan early this morning to join the Hanwha Eagles this spring training. Said he turned down a multi-year offer from an MLB team because it would have pushed him close to 40 and would have kept him from rejoining the Eagles while still effective. So Hyun-Jin Ryu is just done with the MLB just like Masahiro Tanaka. So, yeah, still feels like the Yankees' last big move. Then Bellinger and Chapman feel like it for the Cubs. Jordan Montgomery feel like a team like the Phillies could be the last move. That's really the way it feels. And Joe Swisco kind of agrees. Popovich has needed to retire for a few years. He's lost it. You can just tell he doesn't have anything left on the sidelines. He looks off. How much longer statistically could it take for Snell to sign and still be okay for opening day? You look at it three ways. If you want 5 innings out of opening day, it has to be this weekend. It has to be this weekend. If you want 4 innings, you can go into next week, maybe to the week from Saturday, week from tomorrow. If you only want 3 innings out of opening day, then you got about 2 more weeks. If it gets past a week from Sunday and into that next week, that first start is gone. That first start of the year is gone. So, yeah. It's starting to be pushy. It's at the point where Snell and Montgomery have no choice. They have to get on a roster now to make that first start of the season. It is at that point now. Otherwise, you're only going to go 3-4 innings max. They can keep the pitch count down. So, just do a quick check at Twitter again. Tom Kosinski, he's currently shopping around for his nightly reports. Time is money. Okay, we'll see what he comes up with tonight. Just checking. I'm going to be keeping an eye out until I sign off here in about 15-20 minutes. Whatever I'll go with. And there's a big MLB uniform fiasco going on right now with these see-through uniforms. And yes, the MLB is working to fix it. And Tyler Kepner, he's a reporter for The Athletic, senior writer, just posted, here's what I don't get about the MLB uniform fiasco. Why can't Commissioner Manfred respond with a strong statement? And I'll pause. He's really giving weak statements at this point. He said they will address it. He needs a strong one. Quote, we messed up. It's unacceptable. Our players deserve better, and we will fix this problem by opening day. Easy enough, you would think. And Tyler's correct, okay? Manfred has not flat out come out and said don't use these uniforms. He needs to. It's going to be embarrassing, I'm telling you. Especially in the rain. Oh, I might have to turn the TV off if I watch games. So. And the statement from the MLB, by the way, from Michael Silverman, quote, we always put the athlete at the center of everything we do. We work closely with the MLB players, teams, and league to create the most advanced uniforms in the history of the MLB, which are lighter and more flexible. The quality and performance of our product is of uttermost importance to us. We will continue to work with the MLB and the players and our manufacturing partner to address player uniforms. That was the statement I was just referring to. But the uniform is just flat out embarrassing. Embarrassing. Yeah, Devers was furious at these uniforms. He's been furious with them. Judge was not happy with them. Yeah. Montgomery, I don't think will go to the Phillies. I strongly believe with the Yankees. Lance Snell, the Red Sox had no choice but to sign Jordan. That, Danny could have a point there. That could be something when the Yankees get Snell, where the Yankees go, okay, now we have to retaliate. They got Soto and Snell. And it could force it. That's the point. But I've been told the Red Sox have not made an offer. They've been in contact but have not made an offer. I learned how to read the tea leaves and take what these reports say with a grain of salt. That is majorly great point from Jared. Most of these articles and reports are crap. There are lies to help agents negotiate. Most of these reporters are paid chills. I don't know if you know this. Something I learned from my insider friends. Yes, I talk to an insider almost daily. He's advising me, helping me get better. So I've gotten better with this. Yes, agents will take money to put out a report. And these agents like Scott Boras will pay as much as $25,000 to get Heyman to put out like he did with Arson Judge. Yes, that happens. That's what you're referring to. So you have to learn how to weed through these. Look at this BS like Bob Claves reports. It's straight up BS. I think that's Randy Levine putting out lower your demands before we finalize the deal. That's straight up what I think Bob Claves is doing. And Johnson, I don't think the Red Sox really spent. I agree with that. I agree, and that's why Danny said Devers opened up about his frustrations. Yeah, they're furious. The Red Sox players are furious, and I think it's only a matter of time, no matter what Red Sox fans are saying or anybody saying. I think it's only a matter of time till Devers says, trade me, I'm done. It's a matter of when, not if. So, will you be willing to do live stream for all Yankees games this season? I am considering that right now. I'm not sure. I have a girlfriend. I'm getting serious, and I'm giving a lot of time to her, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I might try to get her on a live. We'll see. I'm contemplating. I've got a few weeks to think about it. We'll see. We'll see. I might do what I did last year. I did one a week. We'll see. Where I live, it's hard to get Yankees games. If I re-sign up with T-Mobile, I can get the MLB TV for free again. I'm going to be changing cell phone carrier soon. And then we'll see. Montgomery's wife is a Boston Red Sox fan, and she lives in Boston because she's going to, I think it's Boston College, because she's doing a medical thing. I think she's like physician's assistant, is about to get a PhD or something, or working on it. So that's a good point there. So, yeah, we'll see. And by the way, you notice with Tyler, Kyle, and another one, Hayden, they have that wrench in their blue. Means they're admins for the chat, and if you say something wrong, they will boot you. They'll throw you out quick. And they've been very good at what they do. So I do those lives, they will help me out with that. And if I do lives, it will not be during the day. It would be in the evening, most likely, for games. So we'll go for another about 11, 12 minutes, I think. But yeah, with the Red Sox, what is going on with them? If you look at last year's revenue, they were fourth, and they're not spending. Yeah, they're over the luxury tax, a second tier as well, but still. And by the way, another thing to keep in mind for next year, all the thresholds go up. The top one will be at 315 million. The second one goes up about 290, or the second to highest one, I should say. All of them are going up again. So you got to keep that in mind. I don't think Hal cares about signing Snell because he knows it's going off the books next year. And instead of that's why the Cubs would sign both Bellinger and Chapman, is they know this as well. So, and again, with 4 times, maybe 5 actually, the TV bits he's done and podcast bits he's done. 4 to 5 times in the last 24 hours, John Heyman has said there are active talks between the Yankees and Snell, active talks between the Cubs and Cody Bellinger, active talks between the Cubs and Matt Chapman, and active talks between Jordan Montgomery and he lists about 7 teams. So we know these guys are in active talks. But man, is Scott Boras a prick. Scott Boras is screwing over everything. I mean everything. And I think baseball needs a move like Snell to the Yankees to kind of rejuvenate fans around the game. So, that's not Hulk Hogan. So now you know all this Tony Snell to the Yankees crap. Just like Kevin Cameron to the Yankees crap, was just crap. That was the Boras crap. That was back when they were using the Yankees. Now they're not. Now is the time if something comes out, pay attention to saying it first and foremost. And if it's Heyman about a Boras client, believe it. That's where Heyman's at his best. It's a Boras client. And I do not think Judge was a Boras client, by the way. I'm going to check it. And I think that's why Heyman was so bad with him. No, he is PSI Sports Management, so I'm right there. That's why he butchered the Aaron Judge free agency. So with Heyman, it's Boras clients. And I think all of the insiders, or not insiders, reporters, have their niche. And you need to learn what niche for each insider. Okay? The niche for Bob Cleveland, for example, is writing about a move the Yankees make after it's done. That's where he's at his best. He is horrific at player moves. So, let's see. A question going around on MLB Network: will any catcher ever break Yogi Berra's record for World Series rings? I can give you the answer in one word: no. Yeah, it's mind games by Scott Boras. That's correct. That's correct. It's all mind games by Scott Boras and other agents. And as I said, they'll pay $25,000 to get one of these reporters put out what they will put out. And again, there are different tiers of these reporters. The actual baseball insiders are only Ken Rosenthal and Jeff Passan. And then you have your team insiders like a Jack Curry, where he only talks about that one team and will inside about them. All these other guys are just reporters. They claim insiders. They are not. Learn the difference and learn all these guys' niches. Bob Nightingale's good at getting information, but it seems like he jumps the gun a lot, so he's wrong a lot. Let's see. There's just nothing coming out right now from any baseball insider. And one I am dismayed with. A couple of them, actually. Jesse Rogers and Chris Kirschner. I thought these guys were going to be top guys like Jeff Passan and Ken Rosenthal. But lately, man, have they fallen off a cliff. Chris Kirschner's not even trying to break news anymore after he did amazing with it. He's off. Jesse Rogers is so off, it's not even funny. Jesse Rogers is pushing Juan Soto to go to the Mets next offseason. Let me be clear. There ain't no ghost of a chance that happens. Soto is staying with the Yankees long term. Watch him. He still loves being a Yankee. And the Yankees love him. We'll be live another about 6.5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. We'll see. Did you have any final questions? Get him in now. Yeah, Juan Soto absolutely loves being a Yankee, and I think his extension comes together pretty quick once they actually get the numbers on. By the way, Michael Bush has not reported to Cubs spring training yet. I wonder what's going on with that one. He loved being a Cub. He seemed happy, genuinely happy about it, but yeah. And, yeah. Another thing I'm going to bring back up. Hal Steinbrenner hinted. He straight up hinted that a Juan Soto extension is coming yesterday. I wonder how many saw that. And he hinted it would be bigger than Judge's contract, and that Judge doesn't give a crap. So keep an eye on that. Yeah. I do believe a once extension happens. And don't be surprised, a lot more Scott Boras client extensions happen as well. It has been way too quiet, other than all this noise about Blake Snell. It got dead silent the last 24 hours. It's been way too quiet without a big move. Especially when you know there's moves to be made. And I believe we can kind of figure out where these Boras 5 are going. You look at JD Martinez, and then you look at all the teams that need DHs. The Marlins have not replaced that Jorge Soler void. I'd be surprised if it's not the Marlins with JD Martinez. You can man Chapman. The Cubs just make too much sense. You can put Michael Busch at first base, Matt Mervis DH, and you still got a bunch of bats on the line. If you bring Cody Bellinger and you throw him in the outfield. So, it makes sense. And Cody Bellinger with the Cubs. Blake Snell with the Yankees. With Jordan Montgomery, you can narrow it down to about 3 teams. I cannot rule the Rangers out until he signs somewhere else. I'm going to say that. So it's the Rangers, Phillies, and Red Sox really for him. And I don't buy him going east. There's no ghost of a chance, or west, I should say. Excuse me, west. There's no ghost of a chance Jordan Montgomery goes west. None. By the way, if a team like the Mariners, Giants, or Rangers were signing Blake Snell, they would have done it already. They would have said screw it and met him wherever they would to get him. So, yeah. It's been quiet. So again, I'm going to recap since I started with. I was told this morning, and it's only noon here where I live, Niagara Falls. But I was told this morning that Scott Boras is the only reason the Boras 5 have not signed. The only reason, because he will not let his ego take a loss on these guys. So I have to ask, at what point did the Boras 5 say, screw you, Scott, I'm going to do it myself, like Erod did? I think we're very close to that. And I think Blake Snell will be the first. And it is very close to doing that. I think it's on the verge of him doing that. They are furious at him. They are done with free agency because we are now getting to the precipice to where Blake Snell and Jerome Montgomery will miss that first start of the season if they do not get a team now. Just like what happened with Carlos Rodon last year because of an IL stint. He came back right about this time. Rodon, it was the second week of March, could not get rid of the season, so they threw him back on the IL. We're getting close to the point of no return is what I'll call it for the starting pitchers. Now, if the guys like Clevenger and Syndergaard and Michael Lorenzen are going to give you good outings and keep you in games, they can still wait because they're going to be your filler in guys, but they will have time. Okay? And they'll probably make shorter starts. And another thing I want to talk about, Wander Franco, it just keeps getting worse on him. He refused to pay his attorney's fees and court fees. Courts don't take kindly to that. They will hit you with another felony for that. So Wander Franco just keeps digging his hole deeper. He's done. He's done. And the Rays signed Ahmed Rosario yesterday to fill that spot. So they filled his spot. So, yep. It is what it is. The whole situation boils down to Scott Boras being a stuck-up prick. Refusing to let these guys sign. It's all Scott Boras. You can blame Scott Boras. So if you had fun on this stream, it's been fun for me. I try to do one once a week. I didn't do one last week because I wasn't feeling well. I got sick. It was not COVID. Don't worry about that. It was a hypoglycemic attack, was what it called, when my blood sugar becomes unstable. And yeah, I'm doing pretty good now. Going on a date tomorrow with the girlfriend. We're going to go to a dance, have some fun. So I hope one of the older guys at the dance, because there's always older guys at these dances. I hope one of the older guys doesn't ask her to dance and freak her out. Then I'd have to calm her down. That would not be fun. Anyways. So if you had fun with this one, again, Scott Boras is solely to blame for the Boras 5. That's what it boils down to. I think Snell signs first, and it's coming soon. And then you'll see Montgomery shortly after that, maybe Bellinger and Chapman. I do think they all sign by the end of March. I do think that happens because these guys are going to get furious at him. Okay? So, is what it is. Feel free to watch all my videos, and if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. Helps everybody out. And yeah, imagine Snell signs while I'm on my date. That would be hilarious. My phone buzzes, I pull it up, and I see that. I go, crap! That would be hilarious tomorrow night. I'll agree. So, had a lot of fun. Been for an hour. Going Go ahead and rewatch it if you want. I dropped a bunch of information for you. Scott Boras solely to blame for the Boras 5. Have a great day, everybody. Remember, the King's Horse loves you.